welcome to the interview series made by a grocery store. In this series, we explore the world of local vendors and businesses and the road they travel to bring their products to your shelf. I'll be your host and guide, Tegan Coonahan. Welcome to For the Love of Local.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're here with the gentleman from Brewhaha Coffee out of Spring Green, Wisconsin. Guys, can you each introduce yourselves and what you do in your company?
Sure. My name is Matt Snow, and I'm one of the roasters, maybe the main roaster. Aaron also is roasting as well, and day-to-day roasting. Turn it over to you.
Yeah, Pat Mahoney. I do mostly sales, all the sales, and distribution, and getting into new stores. A little bit of marketing stuff as well.
And I'm Aaron Halverson. As Matt pointed out, I roast as well as maintain the facilities and take care of packaging and other oddballs.
Awesome. So Brewhaha is in our coffee aisle, and they have been for the majority of the time we've been open, which is almost 4 years this spring, I'm sorry. So I knew these guys before we opened, though. I was helping open a small co-op right down the road in Plain, Wisconsin, and I met Pat and Matt while I was there, and their product was very well liked, so we thought that we should probably bring them on into our store. So their story doesn't begin there, though. Their story begins a little earlier than that.
Yeah, we started. I guess it started with me. Maybe 2013. I was roasting coffee just on a small scale because you can do that. I didn't know that you could do that. You could do that on your own. And my son had a 5th grade field trip, and I was being able to roast certain quantities, and we thought, well, maybe we can help out, and maybe we can do a fundraiser. And so that's kind of where it started in 2013. And there's a lot of great feedback, and people wanted to know where they could find it. And I said, I don't know. We have to find a place to do that. So we started reaching out to different places, including Honey Creek in Plain, Wisconsin, Hometown Market in Spring Green, and a local bookstore here in Spring Green, Arcadia Books was kind of where we started.
So small business growing through other small businesses.
Right. Yeah. We live in this entire area here, whether we call it the Driftless area here in the Spring Green area, but even all the way to Lodi, it's just a lot of supported small businesses helping each other out, and when I think when people help each other out, everyone wins, and it's been a great journey for us.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So then, when did you come on board with Matt?
So I joined in 2016-ish. And basically my wife said, Matt needs help, go help him. I said, okay.
Smartly.
Not knowing anything about coffee, nothing about grocery, retail, wholesale. I mean, I knew the general concept, but I've never been involved with it personally. Matt, had all the legwork pretty much done. He had the labels, the flavors, the bags, and it was in a few stores already, the 3 you mentioned. So I just came on and I said, well, okay, I'm going to start going to places and seeing if we could sell these bags. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think it's a great avenue and a venture to take. Just never had the opportunity for having a product, or service to do that. So I went to Miller & Sons in Mount Horeb, I think was one of the first ones. Pinkle Wiggly in Lodi, Wanakee, Sauk. Went to Reedsburg Viking. That was one of the very first ones. But I distinctly remember going to Miller & Sons and talking to a guy named Jay, who's a grocery manager, and I said, hey, I'm Mahoney from Brewhaha Roasters, and we sell these 12-ounce whole wheat bags, and we're local. Yep, bring it in. And that was the key. And I never ever thought I would be a salesman. So that initial success, or win, if you will, I think propelled me to keep going. And so, we're in 4 Piggly Wigglies, we're in 7 Festival Foods, we're in 4 Woodman's now, and so overall we're in probably just shy of 40 stores now.
Wow.
And that's it's becoming a challenge. I tell people it's not big enough to make a living, but it's too big for a hobby, sort of a thing. So I came in 2016, did all of the sales, distribution, and continued to do that. Continued to try to just get more stores.
And sounds like you've done well with it.
Yes.
And then Aaron.
So that came in shortly after Pat did in 2016. I was actually a little more indirectly involved because Matt would roast coffee and I could smell it. I was his neighbor.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, what is that awesome smell? And I'd wander over and see Matt roasting and help him here and there with various things. And that got my curiosity piqued, and I started helping, especially when we purchased the new roaster, get that assembled and get it cured, ready to go, and then also take a look at getting more efficient in our producing of the coffee and bagging and packaging and process improvement. I also take care of the online sales, the website, social media stuff, as well as just recently we brought on my daughter, who went to UW Whitewater for sales and public relations. So she's currently doing that on the side as well, helping us with PR and marketing.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys are going to need it.
Her name is Madison.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
So you guys have, gone from what, like 3 tiny little stores? Well, I shouldn't call Hometown Market tiny. We're
Well,
probably about the same size as us. It feels tiny. We feel small.
yeah.
So you guys started there. Now you're in around 40 stores, which is amazing. So that's great growth trend for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys, you kind of touched on it. What do you feel your next steps are?
Well, I'll start. Our next step is to expand. We as Pat mentioned, we want to we're past that hobby point, and we want to be a business that's generating revenue, etc. We looking for distribution opportunities and expansion through Southwest and the rest of Wisconsin.
Because are you
And
guys
even
all? Sorry, I
Yeah,
interrupted you.
no,
Are
it's
you
okay.
all still doing full-time
we are
Day jobs?
jobs
Yeah.
and then
So-
doing this, right?
Yeah, we're actually all educators.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I know that you guys.
So
were-
I teach
you are-
at
that's
the high
awesome.
school here in Spring Green. Aaron teaches at Southwest Tech.
Yeah, I used to teach business education, but my wife has a pretty good job, so I got to do the stay-at-home dad thing for a while.
Nice.
And
So-
you
But
just
you coach.
stopped coaching.
Yeah,
That's
so-
it,
I was
head
gonna
coach.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I coached wrestling for 22 years. Now I sub-teach too. That's another thing. I just actually did that today. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that we're getting into more stores. The whole goal, is just to get in as many stores as possible, and to do that, we need a distribution person. So we're searching out a distribution company to help us out, try to get them to buy our product and then take it to all their stores, whoever that might be. And some of that is higher cost than.
And finding the right fit. I mean,
Yeah.
every company has a different perspective, what they're looking for too, and so trying to find that right fit for us and them together.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention also that we besides the 40-ish stores that we are, they're mostly grocery stores. We also sell to a lot of businesses around here. So I just took some coffee to the shed today. Spring Green Motel, if you stay there in the summertime and you go into their gathering room, that's our coffee. You go to Freddie Valentine's, that's our coffee.
Which they make a really nice steak with our.
Yeah,
coffee.
it's a Brewhaha
Case-
steak.
Really?
Ribeye, yeah, it's
I
really
haven't
good.
been there for a while. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah, so we sell to several businesses by bulk, so we do the 5-pound bags. All the 40 stores we mentioned, we sell the 12-ounce whole bean bags to those places. So, there's a little, and we sell to individual people also. So people order online. We have many customers that are Matt's customers from when he had this little 1-pound
course.
roaster,
It was over at the farmers market.
Right, farmers
Yeah.
market.
Weekends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, we have kind of a diversified, portfolio, but we're mainly trying to grow by getting into more grocery stores
Yeah.
with the 12-ounce whole bean bag stuff.
So it sounds like it's been a balancing act for all of you.
Continues to be. Yeah.
So what does that look like? Let's a little personal here. How does that look at home? How does it look? I hear you.
It's always a balancing act, obviously, and just before you throw in coffee roasting, everyone's active, right? I mean, we're all having pretty active lives. So yeah, as we grow, we have to continue to, have conversations, make sure that we're meeting those demands, because we all value our family, and that's important too. But we're also trying to push forward.
Right, and how do you, what does it give, you give up a game to grow your business, but then you give up that special time that you might have with your kiddo, or I mean,
Right.
is everyone's kid
Commu-
getting
Yes.
a little older now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and so communication is the key, and so it's funny when we started together, the three of us. I always envisioned. I mean, not that I went to school for business or anything, but I always imagined if we're going to have a business, we're going to have meetings and we're going to talk and everything, and we can't do that. We're so busy. So Aaron introduced some really great opportunities that we can communicate online. There's all kinds of technology online. I don't know what the correct word for Slack is, but online
Slack.
management.
It's a Teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Teams
So
communication.
we were able to communicate 24/7 and just keep it going, which we've had to introduce face-to-face time as well, but like that's really been able to help us be flexible.
I think a key here is there's three of us,
Yeah.
and when any one of us would not be available because we want to spend that time with our family, the other two would always pick up the slack.
Yeah.
And I think that would make it really difficult for one individual to try to tackle this. That's made it easier for us to still keep our family and still grow the business because we got each other's back.
I don't know about you guys, so I feel like for me, especially when we first bought the business, I was like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing all of it. Like, I'm not sharing this, I'm doing all of it. And then I quickly realized, like, that doesn't work. And I think Bryce kind of felt the same way. Like, we felt like we had to do everything. Did you guys get, I mean, obviously if you passed that point now because there's three of you and you're all helping each other out, but did you have that feeling when you kind of started growing?
We had pretty good separation of duties right away.
Oh, that's
I know that when because we bought this big commercial roaster, which we'll maybe show later, but
Yeah.
it's a 33-pound commercial roaster, and Aaron was initial of that, getting it all set up. Matt went to actually go to a 2-day class up in Minneapolis to get trained on it, and
It's huge, guys. It is really
you know,
big.
these-
You'll see it.
And so that's just one example of those guys having the knowledge to do all that, and I just say, no, I'm not doing it, because, 2 is enough. We don't need all 3 of us to know how to roast. These guys do all the roasting, we all share the bagging and all the other things. But, we all, I think, had a pretty good sense of what we could bring to it in the beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot of duties that we share. In fact, Pat just mentioned, hey, I'm doing deliveries at this one location, but I need help there this week getting the other stores their product. So he asked, and I happen to be on spring break this week, so I'm gonna help Pat out do deliveries.
And that's I don't mean to get off topic, but that's a difficult thing to explain, right? So every store is different, and every opening to go in a store is different, and to explain to someone, you have to go this way, you have to see this person, you go to the shelf, you go out, and you print an invoice, you come back, you get checked in, or you don't get checked in, or you gotta have something on that says Brewhaha, or
They don't know who you are.
Yeah,
You're
right.
like walking around
So-
the store.
but we all again do a really good job of sharing some of those duties, and some of it you can explain as much as you want, but some of it you just gotta go do.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
From our angle, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that works for us in our store is if a vendor comes in, we have a receiver, and that receiver's job, it's not just receiver, they have a lot of other jobs, but receiving is one of their jobs, and you go find them, they go through all the count with you, they go through the cost with you, okay it to come in the store, and then these guys stock it.
Right.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with the grocery industry, that's how that works. So when he's saying everybody has a different way of receiving, that's just how ours works. But
And everybody's DSD, so the direct sales delivery system or policies is different.
yes,
And for us, one of the main things that helped us out for Piggly Wiggly's for the 4 of them was getting a vendor number, which we never had. So Jen and Wanakee actually really helped us out in kind of lobbied whoever she had to talk to get us a vendor number. Now it's much easier for us to go in and do that type of thing.
thanks, John. If you're watching this, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have kind of a diverse group of audience members.
Sure.
Would you guys maybe want to touch on what you would recommend for an entrepreneur, for someone who was considering starting out?
Starting out as a coffee roaster, or
As anything.
Entrepreneur in general.
Right, don't do it.
no, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
I guess I would just say, find something you're really interested in, whatever that product or service is, and be passionate about it. And you have to be, as a wrestling coach, right? So you have to be mentally tough. And I think it's the same as being an entrepreneur. If you want to grow your business, you have to be mentally tough because you are going to hear no a lot. So you have to be persevere, and you have to you just have to kind of fight through the negative things and believe in what you're doing, and believe that it's going to happen, and that somehow you can make it happen. Like you might have 25
optimism.
Yeah.
Just sheer
But
optimism.
you just have to, something broke or something didn't go right, but it can always be made right or fixed or put on the right path to get to wherever you want to be.
Tomorrow will be better.
I would say also too, you can't please everybody. I mean, obviously you want to have a good product, whatever it is that you want to sell, but kind of be focused. What I've learned, I don't know if you guys, everyone always knows how to do your business better than you do. Which is great to get feedback, and feedback is super important. But there's so many different things about coffee that we could do, but we've kind of tried to focus on whole bean coffee, not flavoring coffee. There's a lot of focus, and I think again, we've had demos at different stores where someone will tell us, we really like your coffee, but have you tried this? What about this? And I don't know about this, and it's important to have that feedback, but also you have to kind of stick to what your focus is, and I think that way you stay on task too.
Very good point.
Absolutely. One thing, I think you need grit, as Pat pointed out, to just keep pushing through those troubles that you run into. You're going to get stumbling blocks. You're going to get individuals that are going to say no, or they're going to say you can't do it this way. And then the other part is educate yourself. We constantly are trying something new here that none of us did before, and asking for help. Asking the local grocery store manager that you know well, what does this mean? When somebody told me I needed this. So the shipper, right? What is the shipper? I didn't know what that was. I had no idea. So definitely, ask for help. The people you know more. There's a lot of people that that have a lot of resources available for you. So take advantage of those.
Those are all really great pieces of advice, because that's all things that we're not completely different businesses, but ours was just up and running already. Mm-hmm. But those are all things that we struggled with too, and still do. Mm-hmm. So the last thing I'm going to ask you guys is something I just ask everybody I interview, because I feel like it's a way to get to know you guys better. What is your favorite music? Genre, band, individual.
We don't have enough battery on your.
Well, we got Spotify. We can just put it on.
Spotify.
Right? Yes, we can make a playlist with this.
Yeah. I'd like to start with you on this one.
Yeah,
I've heard some interesting things while you're roasting.
So I'm fond of probably more hard rock. I'm up for listening to lots of other types of genres, but probably hard rock, and everything from back in the 60s all the way to hard rock we have for today. I kind of draw the line at like music like Gwar. If you're not familiar with Gwar, you can Google that.
What is it, death metal? Or
it is, yeah, scary metal.
Scary
metal.
I'm going to be Googling that one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I need to find out.
I'm more of a classic rock guy, so I like 80s rock bands, Guns N' Roses, the whole Def Leppard and all those bands. But I have to admit, back in the day, I was a rap guy. I really liked rap, like Run DMC and
there you go.
Big Daddy Kane and all of that.
Oh my
goodness!
Now I know what I'm getting you for your birthday.
That's right. So
that's my secret workout.
Yeah,
nobody can hear it.
Big Daddy Kane. Nice. I like everything. I like all those things. I'm pretty eclectic, I think, when it comes to music. I teach music too, by the way. I'm a band director, so I get assaulted with all different kinds of stuff. I tend to not. I defend the hip hop rap music because my mother doesn't like it. So mom, but because it is music, it deserves a place. I just don't like it, but I'll defend it. I like lyric-driven music. What does that mean? Just something that is written with a lot of thought. A lot of music. A lot of music is great, but it's simple. And that's great. I just like I like Ben Folds. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a kind of like alt piano rock, if you will. Interesting lyrics though, interesting stuff. So stuff like
one
that.
to Google if we haven't heard
There
it.
you go. Yeah. So anyway, that's what kind of music I listen to.
Yeah, at any time that you're coming to our shop and any one of us are here,
We'll have it on
there's
there.
either a Spotify playlist playing on our TV through Google Chrome or a Netflix series.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the two is
I
always
hang
going.
out here a lot because my daughter has
This is
dance
so
in town.
dangerous. Oh.
So she has a lot of dance classes in town during the week, especially at the beginning of the week. Actually, she's there right now. And for me to go back to playing and come back, it's not worth it because it's a 45-minute class. Anyway,
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time here watching Netflix and bagging and doing whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it because we just moved recently, like 10, 15 minutes out of Lodi. And I'm like, I'm not going home while they're wrestling. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay right here. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone, on this episode of For the Love of Local. I'm your host, Tegan Coonahan, hanging out with Brewhaha Coffee, and we'll see you later.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.